So from A to Z, and you can include it with numbers, which you can separate them, mix the alphabet and mix the numbers up, mix everything together, maybe at gmail.com or at yahoo.com or whatever. Then, if you can mix it into 20 places and say, fetch me the username of this particular website. And once you are able to gather the username, now you can now focus on SQL to attack the aspect of the password, to see the vulnerability side of the password. Did you
Thank
So,
you.
understand what I'm saying?
mm,
Yes, sir. Yes, I understand, sir.
Yeah.
okay,
All right.
so sorry, I have a small question. Um,
No.
Unlike Facebook, that uses emails and some other stuff to do username, and you can actually search for username first before trying to get a password. Like, take for example the juice at hiroku.com. The username is an email, and the password is a string. Now, how do I get the username, which is an email address, at the same time get the password, which we both know that I cannot do the email first and then do the password later, unlike Facebook? Are you getting what I mean, sir?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now,
So
there are other
basically, how does that work?
applications. There are other applications we can use to run that, and I think one of them, maybe when we install our um let me see if it's here. Crossweb. See, mm, we can use something like Backup Finder, and we can use that to generate. We are still going to touch on some of these applications, because we can't touch on all of them. Even if a site is protected with cloud, we can touch on. We are still going to work on those things. Um, what you can do with, based off where we are right now, what you can do is use SQL to find the username. You can use SQL, or you can use user generator. Now, if you use user generator, for me, I think you can mix them up. Let's say maybe in our next class after the installation, I want to bring in the website. I want you guys to trouble yourself on the website before I finally show you different patterns of how you can generate username to that particular website. You don't even need to have the real email address of that website for you to break into the website. Many of all these websites, you don't need email address to break into it. And so, how you can generate SQL on your own, we are still going to touch on that. How you can, you know, there are there are different things when it comes to websites that we haven't even gotten to this stage. For example, when we start using things like MSF Venom to create things like Metapreter and um, MSF Console, there are other means you can use to attack. Either it's a website, either it's an Android phone, either it's an iPhone, whatever devices that uses the internet, you can still penetrate many of all those things, even without you knowing their username or password. I am only giving, these are just the levels at which we are. So sometimes you don't need to know somebody's username or password. You don't really need them, and you can still break into it. But when we get to those places, I would show you. In our next class, I still want you guys to trouble yourself on this particular website, and then I would show you that how can you get username that would work, how can you generate uh, a password that would work even without you having the email address. I think our next class should cover that. If we quickly round up with the installations. So we have to be patient until we get to that particular level.
Okay, man of thought, please. I have a question regarding the minimum and the maximum. I know you say we should, if we are doing, can put two for the minimum, two for the maximum. But out of curiosity, I'm wondering that if we put minimum at 2 and maximum at 20, would that still work?
Yes, it would work, but you might not easily get good results. If you look at the template of it, they put 4 4 on the website. Sometimes it can predict the website if it's going to be 4, if it's going to be 10. It can predict the website, but it's going to show you 10 10. Now you can decide which one you want to attack. Maybe you want to go for the username first and then go for the password second. But I would always encourage you to use both minimum and maximum. You can use the same number, but sometimes you can mix them up. But we haven't have those cases most times where we need to mix them up. I haven't seen Most times I haven't seen many cases where we have to mix them up because there are other alternative apart from what we are doing. We are still just on the surface level in cybersecurity.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. The next one we need to work on. We need to start running some installation for those who don't have Kali. Um, how you're going to have Kali on your system. I'm going to send the link now. Let us install it because the things I really want to show us here, some of them might not work effectively on Windows. But before we get to that, let us talk about Compara. Now, in Compara, for example, you can use Decoder, but let's just touch on Compara first. One of the things you can do on Compara is, let's say, Facebook.com.
Excuse me, man of thoughts.
Yeah,
Are you recording these sections?
yes, I am.
Okay. So I thought the live section ended. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, I think it stopped at some point and I started it again. Yeah, it's recording. Um, let's say this is Facebook.com, and let me go to the. Okay, let's say this is Facebook.com, and we say color Wale or whatever, and then what they actually use Compara for, and this is how you would know if a website you can actually attack a website. Look at it this way: colorwale@gmail.com, and then I put a password, whatever password I like, and I say login. Remember, the moment I say login, it shows this. I can decide to go back, and when you come to this place, you can see loginfacebook.com and look at the render where it says colorwale@gmail.com. Now you go back to that particular website. This is how you know that a website is really vulnerable. You can say uh, John at gmail.com, and then you just put in a different password. And then it shows you this. So what you can do is, first of all, this is the first one. Let's paint it. And the second one, let's make it green. So we can right click on this and say send to Compara request. And we right click again, send to Compara response. So when we click on this, you are going to see this is the request and this is the response. Now, remember what I told you about the fact that you can see a website and cookies, and under cookies, most times the admin information is there. So what you can now do is show words. You want to compare both of them. So this is 1347. We can jot it down and say the request of this page is 1347. That's the first one. And the response says that 2869. Then we go to the other one. Wait, first. On this one, we can say words. And when we click on words, we see that the website says it denies. It registers that we are using our Windows. The website acknowledges that we are using Windows. It shows us that we are using Windows 64. Now that means it is keeping record of what you are using to browse the system. And then it gives some kind of information. And then in the length of the response, you can see that it shows allow method, it shows deny, X frame, and then good. We can decide to go X. The idea of X is to see if there can be any information that is valid. We can come here also and we say X, and you can drag it down and to see how does the website actually respond. I know I'm just giving us the rough sketch. We are still going to touch more on it. Now, let's go back to text. Let's go back to text. Now, this
Sorry, man
particular
of God,
site,
I have a question, please.
I'm not man of God, though, I'm man
Oh,
of God.
sorry. Man of thought. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how do we
Okay.
know which one would be the first and which one will be the second? Which one
Okay.
can we
This
just guess
one,
or
no. The red one, remember that the length earlier shows 1347, which is the request, 2869, which is the response of the website. Look at it.
okay.
Yeah. The red one tells us that it is the request. Now let's go back. Look at it. 1347, 2869. So if we click word, this shows in the length 1347 and this shows 2869. So this is how the website is responding. 443 simply means the website is secured, in some a bit secured. And then it shows us payload. Show us the moment it shows us payload simply means payload can actually, it is not completely secured enough. Payload can work on it. It might not show us payload, but when we look at the bottom here, what can we see? We see symbols of payload here. You can see brackets open, bracket close, blah, blah, blah. That means the website is responding to certain things. The moment the website is responding, we know that this particular website, we can do certain things to it. Because at the bottom, it is showing us payload. But one of the things you can also use Compara for is to say, let's go, this first website, which is the first one that we have touched on, let's go to the second attempt that we tried. And we say, send to Compara as request, and the second one sent to Compara um, as response. Now, what we are doing here is to say, okay, the second one is 2869. Okay, that's the first one. 2869 to 7. The response of this second one says 2870. 2870. And so it's using similar information. So let's say on this we go on Word, and I'm using the second one this time. It shows us we are using Windows exact. So we are comparing the information, and then what you're looking is what are the responses of the website. Now, for you to have a very secured website, it's going to take a lot. But what you can see is that this particular one respond a little bit different. The comparer is not always very useful, but it is useful in a sense. So it tells us here that this is the response of this website 2870, yeah, 1347. So that means the requests are the same. The way it responds are completely different. The way the website responds are completely different. And the moment we have gotten the information, unlike some websites whereby the only reason why we're having issues like this is basically because we're talking about Facebook. There are most websites that the information is just meant for the owner of the website. Maybe there's a place people can just type in message and then send it. So once we have seen now that this website is responding a little bit different from the other one, now that means looking at the bottom, we might be looking for anything that has payload in it. And the moment we have been able to see that the payload of this one, which is 2870, is different from words 2869, you can compare them by looking at the information. You take your time to look at it at the bottom and see if there are any difference to their response. The moment there's difference in their response, and then you can find any information that has things like payload C equals 10 dash MSS equals 1392. All we are looking for is what are the difference between how they are responding. And the moment we see that they are responding differently, now it simply means we can trick the website just the way we could trick ChatGPT. We can trick that particular website to respond in the way we want it to respond. I hope we are able to get the picture. That is before we decide to start taking the website to intruder or some kind of stuff. To know if the website is going to respond in certain ways, we can use the comparer to compare two information on the website. But if the website respond in the same way, now that means it's going to be very difficult to break into such websites. But if the responses of the websites are different, it tells us that we can create a way for that website to respond in the way we want it to respond. All we need to do is to find the language that fits with that particular website. Those are part of the functions of comparer. Is there a question there you want to ask?
Sir, please, can you just come again on this comparer, please?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Now, the comparer is to compare information. The comparer is for you to compare information on how is the website responding. That means if I put two information, like what I did with the Facebook was that I used one the first time, and then I use kolawole@gmail.com, and then I use john@gmail.com. And the website, when I went to the target, this is the kolawole@gmail.com. I think if we scroll down, we might be able to see it. Uh, mm, trunk set cookies. Post. So cookies. Oh, this is eating now. I think I've moved a little bit further. Um, we can actually search. Let me look at proxy history. Mm, okay. Um, I don't want to start all over again. I don't want to start all over again. But let's just continue from here. We can actually search for it later. Um, oh, this is the first one. Sorry, I think I made a mistake. This is the first one. Let me make it red. This is the second one. Let me make it green. So let's say send to comparer request. That's the first one, and send to comparer as response. Now the website responded differently. Let me clear all. Sorry. This other one is kolawole@gmail.com. So I send to comparer as request. When you click on it, you can see that comparer as request is 1401. 1401. And then you come back and you say comparer as response. So you can see that the request is 1401 and the response is HTTP2, which is 83739. So the next thing you can do is to click word to search for information to see how it responds. This shows us deny. This shows us some kind of information about the website. But one thing here is this: you can actually use this medium to know exactly how they set up the website, what that website is gathering. If the website is gathering some information on you also while you are making use of it. So we can choose X. And in the X, I just click X. In the X, I've been able to see some information here. Payments. Okay. Some hidden information can come out from this place. Warning force. We can look at. So if you go through this, first of all, you can see a lot of information. Um, we can still go back to target and then compare that same information with the way this second website respond to it. So let's say send to comparer request, send to comparer as response. So the first one is 1401, the second one is 1389. And so what we see is that 83739 is how the website respond to both of them. 83739, it responds to this and it responds to this. The other one says 85689. Okay, 85689. 85689. And what you are trying to look at here is, why is the website responding differently? And if the website is responding differently, that means we can trick the website to respond in the way we want it to respond. Um, this is the second one. And there are some highlights you can see here. If you pay attention very well, in the cookies, the set of cookies, you may find something there, which you may find the password under these red ones that you are seeing over here. You may find the password. So that might be your own assignment. And you are seeing some information here. Some people are looking for where are some information hidden. For the sake of our class, for educational purpose, there are some things I might not be able to say here. But in this comparer, what you can actually do here is to look at all the information where there are lapses. You might find password, the password you type. And if you find the password you type, then when you are taking this particular page to intruder, you might know exactly what you want to go highlight to tackle the uh, the website's password. That means either you want to use brute force attack or you want to use username generator. You might find most of all those information under comparer. But one thing you can do also is to compare how the website responded with the first information and the second information. And once you can see it, that, oh, there are some payload, there are some scripts, there are things, and the way you can know the payload is through this RTT equals 134, RTX equals 2, C equals 10. The information might be different from what you might be seeing on your system. They don't necessarily have to be the same. But what we are gathering out of this is that if the information are coming differently when we log in with certain credentials and it is responding differently, that means there are chances that we can trick that website to respond in the way we want it to respond to us. Now, if you come to this place and you use X, you can see more information. They are similar, but there might be other information you can find here. And I don't want to use this class to touch much on those things. I want to use that on the day we are going to be working without recording. So it shows that this website has Andrew, blah, blah, blah. It shows there's an information you can actually see here. Most people pay money. Some people pay money to some people, but you don't know the bank you are paying those money to. If you search the information in this particular environment, you might be able to gather the information that are being encrypted in this website. We have timeout, we have domain, okay, business parse, secondary business person, name, null, account ID shows 0, user ID 0, name short. Now, we will be able to expand more on this because it's giving you a lot of information that we can use actually to crack many things on the website. That's far beyond what they launch. We can see other information there. And it might be difficult for us to see it. Okay, we see Apple Card. loshi.com. Um, I think this information is cumbersome here for me to just start going through. But let me put it this way. If you take your time, you will find password under this place. If you take your time, you would see how they receive funds. That means when you pay with ATM to Facebook, for example, when you pay money to ATM to Facebook, Facebook deducts the money from your account, but you don't know where the money is going because they hide their own account details. Now you can see their account details, where it is actually going, where the money is actually going, the name of their bank. You can see most of all these details. The only idea here is that if these details are vulnerable to the public, not public because public cannot see it, but you can see it, what you can do is to advise for them to secure the website more. I think I even went through it this evening, but because this information is a bit much, if I take my time, I'll be able to find it. But the comparer can make you find the password. So you need to be deliberate in the password you type, and then you can take your time to find if you are going to see it or you are not going to see it. Then the moment you see that the SQL it's showing some things like payload, it simply means there are certain kind of payload which is SQL injection you can use on the website, and the website would respond to you. Preload, blah, 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 blah. This particular aspect of comparer, I think we are going to elaborate more on it when we move to Kali. We'll be able to dissect information after information on what you need to watch out for when you are making use of comparer. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So here's what I would do. I'm going to send a link right here. Uh, where is it? Again. Yeah. For those, is this okay? Now, here's one something everyone needs to do. Okay, let me send it through this place. Okay, let me stop. Sorry. My MTN. I'm forwarding a link to everyone, and I'll show you what you're going to do with that link. I'm sending it to the Telegram group.
Okay, sir.
All right. Yeah, I've sent it there, and let me send it here
Um,
also. And how we will go about it.
okay. Um, okay, I want to say something.
All right. Now, there's a link that I've shared here. You can see it here. So when you click on that link, it will bring you to this page. Let me share my screen now. Now, when you click on that link, it will bring you to this place. Now, when it brings you here, what you need to do is first of all, I think someone's mic is disturbing. Okay. What you need to do is to come to this place where you see virtual machine. Click on recommended and then download VirtualBox. Download VirtualBox. Download VirtualBox. 3.2 gig. That is what it will cost you. 3.2 gig. It might take you a couple of hours, it might take you a couple of minutes, depending on your internet. If you are in Nigeria, you know how we always suffer on internet, yes? So let's say maybe 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, depending. Those that are in diaspora, couple of minutes, it should be fine. And when you are done downloading this, they call it VirtualBox. Then you have to download the second one. The second one is installer images. You click recommended, and then um, you can download from this particular aspect. Complete offline with customization. Download this one. This is 4.1 gig. Download it on your system. And if you know how to run it, you can run it. But I would advise you can only install the first one. But wait for me to give you a guideline on how to install the second one.
Okay. Sorry, sir. I want to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, I like me, for example, now I have Kali Linux running already on my system. Do I need to reinstall this once
No,
again?
you don't need.
Okay,
No,
sir.
no, no, you don't need it. If you already
Okay,
have
sir.
Kali, you don't need it. This is for those
Okay.
who don't have Kali. Yeah, so
Okay.
our box shoot and every other thing would go. We are going to continue officially with other tools when we get to Kali.
Okay. Again,
So
sir.
we are just about to start the program. Yeah.
Again, sir. There is something that happened today that surprises me. It's about ChatGPT. So for the past 1 week,
Mm.
for the past 2 weeks, ChatGPT has been guiding me through because we've been discussing cybersecurity. So today he now asked me to send the website I'm trying to test the vulnerability. I'm trying to break into the SQL. So and I sent him that PHP admin, the one we've been using for test. To my greatest surprise, ChatGPT ran through the whole processes and then give me the username as, and password as test and asked me to try it and see if it will go through. I was shocked today.
Exactly. That's
Ah,
why I say make ChatGPT your friend. And there's some kind of communication I really don't want to say right now, the moment we are recording, but there's a way you build a relationship with it. There are certain things it will give you, even on two-step authentication. Though, at the end of the day, when we are done with this program, phone or whatever is not an issue for you. But sometimes you might just need a little support from ChatGPT or whatever, and you'll be able to gather those information. So exactly, just keep building the relationship. It will see you as a cybersecurity. You can tell it that you are working on a lab, and because you are working in a lab, it will just give you some informations that it's not supposed to give. So that's just it. So please, everyone, download these virtual machines and download installer image. I showed you that the installer image, you click here, and then you click on complete offline installation 4.1 gig. The first one is 3.5 or 3.1, which is virtual box, not VMware, virtual box. Do that so we can run this installation. On Saturday we are going to be completing the whole installation, and then by next week we are officially starting a cybersecurity class and other parts of penetration testing and hacking the moment the installation is complete. So please, those who are not available, let us remind them to be there. But under what we have done on this username, make sure you practice with it. Make sure you practice with it. If I have to come up with an assignment, I will come up with an assignment and I will send it to the class. But if not, let us still practice with it. Any question?
Okay,
Yes,
man of
please.
thought.
Which website do you
Yeah.
want us to use? Do you want us to use the Facebook or any different website
You can
for
use
practice?
something else. You can use something else. You can use Facebook. You can use Facebook. You can use something else just to see how it responds, how it creates. This is just to broaden your understanding. The couple
Okay.
of websites will respond differently, but it's always good you use many things. You try many things rather than you focusing on only one thing, so that your experience would be able to go broader and you can ask more questions when
Mhm.
we are having our classes.
Okay. So, but on the process of testing it, we did detect on their machine that someone is actually trying to penetrate or so.
No, 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 no. What you are doing is you just log in.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to break into their password, though. Just because you are gathering email, I did not say you should break into somebody's password. What I'm saying is just because if you look at it very well, um, there's where we call geolocation.
Mhm.
If you are very careful and you read all this X very well, it is recording your location. It's difficult to find it here, but if you read those information, it is recording location, recording router, recording all those kind of stuff.
Wow.
So you might have heard that this is a CIA operation. People used to say it. Me, I don't know.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. I have no clue. So with that being
Thank you.
said, let's practice on that and let's download those things. So installation would only be the next thing we are going to focus on. Any question before we close for today?
Okay, Mr. Man of thought, please. After this, after the download, is that where we would come to this installer?
No, once you
I'm talking
download it,
about the Kali.
if you
I'm
don't
downloading.
understand it,
I'm downloading it right now. It's taking time, like
all right, it's going to take time because it's 3.2 gig. It's going to take time.
Yes, it's saying 2 hours left.
Uh-huh. So
But it's
when you are done,
downloading. Yes.
you are going to see something. You are going to see something like this: Oracle Virtual Box. You can install it. For those who don't know how to install, just hold on. The installation, the second one is an ISO file. It is different. Their installation is completely different from an average, just the normal installation. You have to copy a file or create ad. But I want us to do that in our next class. So we complete the installation so there wouldn't be mistakes.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
But
All
just
right, sir.
download them.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Good evening.
just a how do I call it now? Observation. We're all adults here, and we all aspire not to be a bother to our neighbor. The incidence of mics being on during class is I don't know what to say. I think it's a
Mm,
negation of common sense. Because
mm,
if you have to put on your mic to instruct your wife or talk to your business partner when others are trying to learn something, that you're going to come back and say, I don't understand. I mean, does it make sense? And this thing is quite distracting. So I will enjoin all of us. When the class is on, if you want to speak, put on your mic, speak. As soon as you finish speaking, mute your mic. Simple. It doesn't take much. That's my observation. I'm sorry if I appear a bit
I
harsh.
completely agree with you.
Yes, I think these things
Agreed, sir.
sometimes. Yes, I agree. I agree with you, sir. But sometimes these things are just mistakes. You understand? I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
think
anyone will want to deliberately just put on mic. while speaking to somebody else. You know, I think it's just for my
Yeah.
part. I
Well,
think
no,
I did.
sometimes it can be deliberate act. It can be deliberately,
I
because we
don't
have a lot of
know
people.
if any because I did it just now. I
Yeah.
didn't know my mic was on.
Sometimes
I
it can be
spoke to
mistakes. Sometimes it can be
yes,
deliberately
I
yeah,
spoke to
because.
a man of thought. After
uh
speaking to him, I forgot to put mute my mic before talking to somebody here. You get so
Because I
I
could
didn't
remember
know.
there was someone that was making call. I think it was a business call, and mute the person, and the person, unmute again and still continue. So
Oh,
sometimes it
no,
can be deliberately act. Yeah. So it is.
that I don't know.
Mhm.
Me, I'm just saying this on my own part because I did it just now. I later
Yeah.
found that my mic was open and I
Okay.
quickly put it off. Thank you.
All right. All right. Babu Wahala. Hopefully by
Sorry,
Saturday we
sorry.
should
Hello,
be
please.
done with the
Please,
installation.
I have a question.
All right.
Can I go ahead?
Okay. Yeah, you
Okay,
can.
sorry. I want to know if there is a way we can save whatever response we are getting, like that X code now. Is there any way we can save it as Excel or as any file format that we can easily go through later?
Yeah, you can copy it. You can just highlight, copy, and then
Just
paste
I
it.
like copy and paste elsewhere. Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, copy and paste. Yeah. So good night, everyone. Um, have a great day. See you
Good
on
night, sir.
Saturday.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Bye.
Thank you so much, man of God. Good night.
You're you're welcome. Good night.
Good night, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So, what I was talking about is concerning the idea of
Hello, Mike. I don't know. I don't know really. I don't really know. Can you? I don't know if you can hear me. If you can hear me here, please just say yes. You can hear me. Let me know what actually is the problem. Wow. Have you tried to disconnect and maybe connect back as you're coming? They will ask you for whether you want to use microphone, allow,